Hello.
Wow.
Good afternoon.
Whoa. Oh my goodness. Welcome to the Pole Position Podcast. That caught me off guard. You know, I was editing. Oh my God. I literally made a note to remember what you said last time, and now I'm completely blanking.
Oh, I'm sure it was
Oh,
prophetic.
what did you say?
Was
It was
something
absolutely amazing. No.
I wish you had written that down. Always write that down.
Well, today we're going to talk about the Monaco GP, which I am very emotionally torn because it was on one hand the most boring race I've ever watched in my entire life, and on the other hand, a absolute tear jerker.
Oh, it's emotional for you too. Have you been? I'm surprised you. I mean, I guess your team did fairly well.
Fairly?
I think you went in there hoping for a win, but yeah. Nah. Sorry, this is not gonna be a hate on McLaren day.
Fairly.
You guys did well.
2 and 4?
I'm really sorry. I am, and I really should be happy now because I have
ecstatic.
Points. I have points.
Wow, and you called it too.
I did call it.
You did call it. Wait, that wasn't your crazy prediction. Thank God. Oh my God, I need to not look at my crazy predictions, but just know the points are going to shift drastically today. What are your thoughts on the Monaco Grand Prix? Okay, wait. Let's just start off with the track in general. Obviously, we're going to talk about Charles in a second, but I want to hear your opinion first on this track.
So I'm on board with. It looks amazing, right? It looks beautiful. It's like right out of a Bond film. Like it looks absolutely amazing. And it's like quintessential Europe, and it's just spectacular. The yachts, all that stuff.
Oh my gosh,
but that wears off so quickly. Like it's exciting. Like Q1 or not Q1, excuse me. FP1 and FP2. You're amped. Are you really hoping for someone to go on the wall? I don't know if that's a great thing, but you want some excitement, right?
Right.
But yeah, every time it's impossible to. It's not impossible. It's extremely difficult to overtake on this track. And you know that every year going in, and every time you kind of hope it, like this is going to be the year. It's going to be wild. There's going to be overtakes left and right. And it's the same thing.
Right.
It's the same thing. So it almost, in a weird way, it's the one Grand Prix weekend where you're like, it's just too long. Like I could, if they had shortened it from 78 laps to, I don't know, they could have done 50. And we would have had the same result.
Right.
So I have some ideas on how to fix this. Well, just the one idea, and it's not really original, but I'm calling it my idea.
Okay.
So I think this should be the one race where they mandate you use all 3 tire compounds.
Interesting.
So automatically that's a 2-stopper, or you could have it like this where there's the red flag and another stop.
Right.
But at a minimum, you're getting 1 stop, or 2 stops, possibly 1 with strange circumstances.
Right.
I think that really changes up because the softs. I don't know how long those are going to last at race pace, but it was rough with the pace management. They were going as fast around the circuit as on the out lap. Or the warm up to the grid, the warm up lap.
Right. They were like, Max said like they were driving at least 4 seconds behind the pace.
Yeah,
throughout the race.
Wild. It was just so much, and that part was interesting, right? That was actually, if you're just watching it for the first time, you're like, holy crud, this is just the worst. This is boring. Yeah. But when you peel back the onion and you realize what's actually going on, because there was some jeopardy. Look, they had no idea. It could have gotten a little wild at the end if people's tires just started falling off the cliff.
Right.
But I was actually kind of surprised you had guys that were, switching. They started on the mediums, started on the hards, switched to the medium and the red flag. And you would think those would die at the end, but they also didn't really die at the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
yep.
So I'm hopping around here, but all you did was ask me what I thought of the weekend, and I kind of just went off.
I actually agree with your fix-it strategy. I have to say, so I 100% agree. This is like arguably the most beautiful track on the whole calendar. Just everything about it. And you know me, I'm a purpose-built track hater, street track lover. So I had to find a way to defend Monaco. And I think your idea is good, but I also think a large part of this is the regulations that are in place now. These cars are like tanks. Like there's no, Monaco's always been like this, but it hasn't been, it was never this bad until 2022. Like it was never this horrible where an overtake is legitimately not possible. I actually really like your idea, and it's an absolute, to me, watching it, it's just kind of like it's a sightseeing thing. Like you're not really, it almost, this sounds weird, but it almost doesn't feel like a race, to be honest. Like,
no, it's totally different than everything else in the calendar. Like it's just, it is, it's like, it's a non-race. I mean, they go into it already talking about how qualifying is the race. Saturday is the most important part of the entire weekend.
Right.
And I give it to you, it's exciting. Qualifying is exciting, which is kind of cool in its own way.
What you said about it wearing off, I understand that totally. I tell you what, though, I don't think Monaco, and I don't think they would ever do this, but I'm just putting this out here in case Liberty Media is listening to me right now. Probably. Monaco should not be taken off the calendar. I don't think Monaco is the issue. I think I think what you said could be a way to fix it. I mean, what was the thing in it was Qatar last year. What did they did something. Remember, it was like a mandatory pit stop. What was that?
So that was a mandatory pit stop. And it was a prescribed number of laps. It was like 30 something laps, but that was like because Pirelli was having the sidewalls of the tires due to heat and the curbs, they were exploding.
So they already kind of implement track specific stuff like that. I would not see a problem with what you just said, honestly. But not gonna lie, it was pretty boring.
I genuinely, this race is not going anywhere. I don't. Every year, what's funny is every year there's all these articles about this. People are talking about this. This race is not going anywhere.
No,
and odds are,
and it shouldn't.
They're probably not going to change anything either.
No, they shouldn't.
You think this would be a simple change, but they're just going to be like, well, that's just how it's always been, and that's how it always will be.
Yeah. I think it's the cars. I think the cars need to change. And I think, okay, well, let's try and go in chronological order here. And I mean, it's not hard for us to do that when the only thing that happened was on lap one. But let's literally go in chronological order of lap one. So I think the first thing was Oscar and Sainz. And by the way, I said in the pre-race show, Oscar, you don't mess with Oscar. He's a fiery little, and he's quiet, but he's a little fireball, and it wasn't bad racing. I watched it over and over to make sure there's no penalty possibility. That was just, he stuck it in there.
Literally a lap one incident when they say that.
Exactly.
No, and I don't really blame, I can't necessarily blame Sainz either.
No. Yeah.
Although, Sainz, that guy's a lucky duck, dude. That guy, 2 times, he should have been toast.
Oh my God.
He should have gotten a 3-place grid penalty for the impeding on Albon. My guy Albon's a nice dude, and let him off the hook. And then this happens.
Wait. Yeah. Wait, was that
he impeded Q1.
Yeah, and then I heard Andrea talking about it, and the post quality show basically writing it off like, that's going to be he's going to get dropped.
And he was pissed because, I mean, it's exactly what happened to Piastri and Imola, who got the grid penalty. Sainz does the exact same thing, and you start to wonder, well, why is this being applied differently at different places? Like this, he's got a total gripe that's legit. I can't. Mm-hmm. It makes no sense, and it irritated me. But they called out, okay, so basically, Sainz impedes Albon Q1. Albon has to bail out. He loses some number of tenths. They go to the stewards afterwards, as they do these things. And I read the transcript from the FIA, and Albon, given the opportunity to plead his case, was just sort of, yeah, it's a gray area. I mean, it happens because he's just a nice guy. He's a nice guy. So that was one. God. So first of all, in a race where you can't overtake, Sainz, instead of starting P3, should have been P6.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
He should have been harassing the Mercedes.
Yep.
Then, and this one really is, I got a note here. This really irritates me. So let's go in order. Let's go in order. What happens in lap 1? The whole shebang.
Oscar gets I would say a not the greatest start, but in the second phase of the start, he kind of ramps it up as Sainz is kind of coming up his right side. Mm-hmm. And on turn 1, Oscar's on the outside line and Sainz is on the inside line, and Oscar just hangs it around the outside, and Sainz's front left, I believe, touches the body of the McLaren car and gets some carbon fiber, and it punctures his tire.
Floor, that serrated edge on the floor.
Yeah,
I think it doesn't take much when you're going that fast.
Right.
So I think that knifed him. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. And then by turn. I mean, even down that straight, you already saw the sparks coming off the car, and you can already tell something was wrong. And then he peels off. And technically, I'm pretty sure, I'm very positive, he was dropping positions before the red flag was
100%. 100, because they didn't call the red flag until the leaders were all the way down by the swimming pool. So they'd gone through the tunnel, through the hairpin, through the tunnel, down through the chicane there by the waterfront, and we're now cruising around the corner there by the swimming pool, and the red flag gets flown. Sainz, for sure, would have been P20. There was no, the field is that compact.
Yeah.
He was going to be at the back of the field, and he should be.
He should be.
I'm writing a very strongly worded letter. I'm upset by this because
upset.
All right, so that's that. I think it's a non-story. It's a lap 1 incident. They touched. No one. I don't really blame Sainz. I don't really blame Piastri. You're all trying to race over the same little piece of tarmac there, so that's fine. But Sainz should be out. Not out of the race. Right. He should have had to sit there and either do a spin turn. Well, I don't even know if he could have done that with the flat tire. He'd do some kind of Austin Powers 10-point turn to turn around.
Right.
But then the Yahoos in the back, which is just ridiculous. So anyways, the Yahoos in the back. So, and then we have the lap 1 incident with Magnussen, Perez, and Hülkenberg. And I mean, Hülkenberg got a raw deal on this one.
Wait. Real quick. I just would like to point out that Carlos Sainz single-handedly robbed you of a 4-point Alex finish and me of a double McLaren podium. Yes. I just want to point that out real quick.
You're absolutely right.
Before we move on.
So Carlos Sainz
he's on the bad side of the pole position podcast right now.
Enemy numero uno. Ricky, no.
I tell you, when the restart happened, I was kind of like, it was a long restart, so I was like kind of walking around, not really paying attention. And then when the lights were going out, I looked at it, and when I saw Sainz third on the grid, I lost it.
So well, let's get there. So let's just briefly describe.
You're right.
Let's describe how we got into the restart situation first. Do you want to? Actually, so what's your take of that? So Perez gets absolutely. That was it looked like I was watching a movie.
Oh my God!
There's one replay that I saw on Twitter where it's from the other side of the guardrails there, and there's all these photographers, and the car's coming right at it. It looks like a roadside bomb went off.
Oh,
it's insane. It looks like some war video. Anyway, so we got Perez coming up the hill. Magnussen decides you get the two Haas's in back for that's a whole other thing that I don't even know if we have time to talk about. But you got Hulkenberg and Magnussen starting 19 and 20. Right. Perez is was he 17? I don't know. He was back there.
I think he was might have been P18.
He got bogged down when they all came around turn one. I mean, there was a point where it looks like Perez has actually stopped waiting to go up the hill.
Yep.
So Magnussen tries to dip in the inside. There is a gap there for a second, but bro, I don't think that was ever going to work. Now, we could spend time talking about this too, because Perez on the onboards, he's clearly looking to the right.
Yes,
he knows. He can say he doesn't know Magnussen's there. He knows Magnussen's there. Now, maybe he thought he was going to back out, like, hey, be normal and don't do this. And that's what he was thinking. Because the contact isn't that much.
Right.
But at that speed, all right, so he tips the rear right. Perez just is spinning, hits like three walls, and Magnussen's car's toast. And poor Hulkenberg tries this, like, that guy had his foot on the floor trying to get past it, and he just got tagged just the littlest bit in the back, and his race is over. His race is over. So, all right. So we got two Haas is out, and a Red Bull that looked, honestly, when they always, on the TV, they won't show the accident until they know everybody's okay. I don't know if you remember this. Remember that big Jogo on You accident at Silverstone?
Yep. Yeah.
For the longest time, no one had any idea what was going on, including like the announcers who couldn't see it because they're on the the global feed there, world feed.
Yeah.
So because when they call the red flag down by the swimming pool, they're with the leaders, and everybody seems kind of confused. They're like, "Well, what for the signs?
For the signs
flat? Right. That's weird." So, anyways, Perez's car is absolutely demolished. It's missing.
Demolished.
At first, I thought all four wheels were missing. I realized three of them were actually just tucked underneath.
I didn't even notice that.
It looked like someone blew the wings off an X-wing fighter. Like it was absolutely destroyed.
It's kind of hard to explain. I had that feeling when I first saw it, kind of like that. Oh God. Like that very like heart drop. This could be bad. And then I saw the next replay of Checo waving his arms at K-Mag and being pissed. I was like, oh, he's all right. Yeah. He's good.
So, all right. So basically, look, we've got massive damage to the
huge carbon everywhere.
Carbon absolutely everywhere. I've told you, it looks like a movie.
And they had to redo the
Aramco barrier. I feel like I'm missing a letter.
We are missing a letter.
We'll call it for our American friends, the guardrail. There's like a triple guardrail, right? It goes like 4 feet high. Dude, they had dudes out there with like rivet guns, and I mean, they literally had to put a whole new like 10-foot section in.
It was gnarly,
So it's a red flag. Everybody comes around to the pits. We park. We're in a rain delay sort of situation where everybody gets out. And I actually really like those. I watched all 40 minutes of that, and because the announcers are just gabbing. I watched it on the F1 feed and then the Sky Sports feed. It's so because you get to hear more of Martin Brundle talking on the Sky Sports, and he entertains me to no end. Like he's just the best. So the problem here now is we have this happens like this is just after turn one going up the hill. They haven't established an order, right? So you have to get to the first sector, which I believe is I don't know if it's before the hairpin or it's somewhere up there. And I do have a gripe with this. So because all cars have not reached, they can't establish an order, right? All the cars have not gone through that timing beam.
Right.
Before the red flag was thrown. So then they decide to revert to the starting order, which saves Carlos Sainz's bacon here, right? He should be, so he basically gets his P3 back and a fresh set of tires like it never happened.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't understand why, if they could, why not just wait for Joe to get through the doggone timing beam and then throw the red flag?
Right.
Like, no one else was going to get hurt. Like, there was no chance the leaders were coming back to hit that. Like,
Right.
they still had a half the track to go before they got to the pit. I mean,
Right.
I don't see why you don't. Obviously, in some cases, you may not be able to. But in this case,
Yeah.
I feel like they could have waited, 15 seconds for Joe to get through.
Right.
So I'm not a huge fan of the way that's restarted.
Yeah.
Mainly because
yeah.
I was a little biased because Sainz gets a free pass. Like, that's
It's a free pass.
That's yeah.
And you know what almost bothered me an equal amount was Esty Bestie shooting it down
Let's
a
get into it.
hole that does not exist on poor Pierre. And I'll tell you exactly what happened here. And I am really going to go off right now because literally, 3 days ago, we just released an episode of me. I said he's changed. I think he has a better mindset. And he goes and embarrasses me.
You're a poor judge
like
of
this.
character. That's a problem.
Very poor. And I'll tell you what. I'll tell you why he did this. He has 1 point. Gasly has 0. So, he's like, I'm the big guy here at Alpine, right? Then Pierre absolutely qualifies his butt off, gets the Q3, and, he sticks at P10. And in Monaco terms, that's basically, you're going to get a point. And I don't think Ocon could deal with the fact that after all that work of out-qualifying Gasly, like 80% of this year, he's going to be equal with him.
I think
he shot it right up the inside the first opportunity he had. Yeah, I was
100% an inferiority complex. This guy can't handle it, and he's got a track record.
Yep.
He's a crappy teammate. He's only interested in number one, and if he's not number one, he will be a huge dickhead to be number one. Like, this guy, I'm sorry. Like, I was on board with you last week. I was like, I'm surprised. He seems to be an okay dude right now. But no, he had these same issues with Alonso when Alonso was with Alpine, and before that, he and Perez had a lot of issues when they were both driving for Force India, now Aston Martin. I have no idea what he was thinking there. Well, I guess we just described what he was thinking. I have no idea, how he thought that was going to work.
Yep.
But it's a continuation of, we saw this in Miami through the underpass there in Miami. Yep. They got lucky there and avoided significant contact. But he can't, I guess maybe it's a good thing to be competitive, but he can't stand the problem, and he's taking it out on his own teammate. Do you think if he makes that move, or do you think the penalty was fair?
I wish it was more, and I'll tell you what just came out right before we start recording. Thank goodness we record these a day after right now. Bruno Famine, who I'm starting to like a little bit. I had no idea who this guy was, but this brother,
he
slams down the discipline hammer with no hesitation.
And that's what he needs to do. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he has to. When a team is like this, and this is what I want Valves to do. Like with Sargent, this is why I was like, why bring him back? That's a topic for another day. But I like this. When your team's in the back, you can't be coddly. He said, what I can say to you is that, hello? Restart? What I can say to you is that,
sound it out.
That is still he's speaking in French. I feel like this is Google translated. That is still a serious consideration for the Alpine. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. This is the most confusing quote ever. They had to have put this in Google Translate. Essentially, he's saying he is not scared to show discipline by sitting him out for the Canada Grand Prix, which I want to see so badly.
Yeah, I want to see, as long as they put the Jack Doohan in.
I want to see Doohan.
I want to see Doohan in there. Yeah, I agree. And this is actually kind of shocking because most of the time, I think you got a couple of things here. This is a new team principal that sort of came in halfway through last year. And he was like default team principal. And he was on the team.
Right. Yeah, he's been a part of the team for a while,
Yeah.
I think.
So I think this is the situation where Ocon's got a track record of being a huge douchebag,
Massive.
and especially to his own teammate. Like
I know.
the inferiority complex is the problem. So
Yes.
I think you got a team principal who is laying down the law, excuse
Right.
me. And I think this is good. I think other team principals would like hem and haw and like, in the press do all this is terrible. We don't do this. Well, we're going to have words. And then you're like, well, what actually happened? Nothing.
What actually happens?
Yeah. Now I know it's the teammate on teammate problem. Like it got out of control. Like Mercedes dealt with this with Rosberg and Hamilton in 16, and it was getting ugly. These guys were, and that was even worse because they were usually starting 1 and 2 on the grid.
Right.
They ended up making some kind of like signed contract that they wouldn't fight each other, and if they did, there would be a one race penalty, suspension. Excuse me.
Right.
And I think there was some financial stuff involved too, and that did seem to work. And then ultimately, the only way they got to work was when Rosberg said, "I'm out of here."
Right.
So,
right.
So I think this is I think this is. It's just not good for the team too. Your own teammate.
For the team, yeah.
You have the
set the
potential.
example.
Ocon's in P11. There's every, as we just talked about how hard it is to overtake here. There's every chance. I mean, if Sainz doesn't get lucky, that's P9 and P10. That's 3 points.
Yep. That's 3 points.
And guess who's now in P8? Because Williams jumped him here. I mean, on a technicality, but Williams is, in the constructors, is jumped ahead of Alpine.
Yeah.
They're both on.
Right.
2.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No,
but you know how important those are, though. You know what I mean?
Very important.
This could have been 0 points. So you got with the potential of being 3. It could have been nil. Zilch.
I'm telling you right now, I feel like if Gasly did not finish this race because of damage, I feel like the news would have come out like 24 hours ago. I clearly you could tell the Pole Position podcast sits on one side of this matter.
Yeah,
Maybe
this is ridiculous. It's obnoxious. I was honestly, I clapped when I saw that knucklehead walking by in his jeans right before the restart. I was like, you deserve that.
Yeah, you better not start again. Yeah. Well, okay. Now we can skip the next 75 laps because nothing happened, and let's move to the finish. Charles Leclerc won it, and I gotta say, I feel like I always mess up his last name, but I just say Alex Jakes. I feel like that's how you pronounce it. Alex Jakes delivered a hell of a little speech at the end. Leclerc passing the line. I don't know if I know you're not a F1 TV listener, but he was talking about his dad and the grandstands he watched built. Now stand for him.
You mentioned that he took the bus from there. Went to
about
school
4 times,
here,
400 times.
I know all
Yeah,
about
actually,
the buses,
I know all about.
That's what Jakes does, though. He's like, he's got like this full on like radio voice, so he just really does the whole thing, and he's good though.
Yeah,
he's good.
Yeah, and I don't think there's too much to say because he owns this track. There's nothing to say, but like, I feel good for him. I feel
100%.
I felt really flipping good, and man, when he got out of the car and you could hear through the TV cameras him screaming, I was like, let's go, man. I know it wasn't a McLaren win, but I felt like he really deserved that. He really. I think it was
fantastic. You want to root for a guy to win his home race, especially when it's such a specific home race. Like, you know what I mean?
That's their whole Monaco. F1, that is what they're defined by.
Homie, the Prince was so happy with that whole thing. That guy was crying, and then he got in on the champagne spraying too, which was amusing. I think this is one and it's you forget that Leclerc's been fighting at the front. Obviously Verstappen's been dominant recently.
Yeah,
but 2022 was a while ago. That's the last time he won a race, and he stuck a lot of poles Doesn't sound right.
A lot of them.
He's got a lot of polls between then and now that just, the whole narrative was he's unlucky and yeah, some of it was unlucky. A lot of it was bumbling and fumbling by Ferrari before Freddie Vasseur showed up.
God, I tell you what, Freddie,
he cracks me up.
Man, I actually love Fred Vasseur so much. Watching him jump in the,
this is gonna be a cool boss.
He'd be such a, and then when Lando won, he had the McLaren hat on and was like spraying champagne. Yeah, he seems like a cool guy.
Instead of being,
you need more of that.
Instead, we need less Toto and Christian Horner, like sort of macho,
like Gunther,
trash
Fred,
talking, like we're all here. But ultimately, we're having fun. We're what's good for the sport is good for all of us. So let's
what? You know what? I know I've been ripping on Vowels, but this new Team Torque episode made me cackle quite a bit. I enjoyed the witty humor.
I am so surprised with. Well, I don't want to like scare off any listeners we have now. The social media sort of comments about Sargent are out of control. I don't know if it's just the American audience. They're all just sort of like, give him the, like, Fowles, you're an idiot. Give Sargent all the parts of the car and he's going to win. He's amazing. He's going to be like, dude, where are you getting this from? He's not.
Whoa, I need to read the comments.
They're like, their stands are, it's wild.
This is a Williams fan going off on his tangent right here.
So the Team Torques I love those.
Yeah.
Albon's just funny.
Albon is funny. Albon is very funny. But yeah, I don't think there's much we can say except congratulations. And
100%.
I know you won't say it, but I'll say it. The championship fight is back on.
Yeah.
Hey, Leclerc's he's like a win away.
I think this is one of the best things that's happening right now for the sport. Like this is,
I mean,
like you don't even think about it. You think, because I mean, Verstappen's won 5 of 8?
4
of 8. You think you go, just in my mind, I go, well, it's over. So he's way ahead, but he's not that far ahead. And when he does a race like today, we haven't even talked about it. He had a sort of anonymous 6th.
Yeah.
Some of his radio is funny. He at one point, I believe, asked for a pillow.
And then at the end, he said that the most exciting part of the race, or most difficult part of the race, is that he had to go to the toilet on lap 20. But I'll tell you what, that's why Max is both of our new favorite drivers. But I'll tell you what, Ferrari is only, if my math is correct, 24 points behind the constructors. I'll tell you what, I think Ferrari catches Red Bull in the next 3 races. And not because of Red Bull lacking. Checo's just kind of,
dude,
this Monaco thing, that hurts mentally, just confidence-wise. It can't be. And then McLaren's there to pick up the pieces right now. They're about to hit 200
more
points.
Than that.
They're
more than just picking up pieces. I mean, that was a superb race from Piastri. Lando, we'll get to our grades. He didn't mess it up. Grades were extremely hard, by the way, on this, especially when everybody just kind of holds station the whole time.
Yeah, so I kind of have to go off vibes.
But I think you're right, though. I think that Red Bull have a problem with Checo falling off the back. I think that accident for both K-Mag and Perez is a result of the pressure they're feeling.
Yes.
Although word on the streets is Perez might get a 1-year extension here before Canada. It seems like it's all but signed. So we'll see. And that irritates me too because I
think that's what I predicted actually.
Yeah. So well, let's get into it. We got a lot to cover here.
Yeah.
So
let's get into our picks. Wow, wait a second. Okay, I need to check. I need to pull up the results, make sure we don't mess up any stuff.
And then in a minute here, I want a sincere apology. Without laughing, you have to mean it. It's got to be real.
Oh my God, I am looking at who finished last right now. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, no, 6. 6 drivers who are 2 laps behind Charles.
Yeah. Well, dude, the Albon and Tsunoda, I think that's P9 and 10.
They were a lap behind.
Excuse me, P8 and P9 and P10 were a lap down. Tsunoda was just backing him up.
Okay.
For a race that had nothing that happened in it, really, there's so much more to talk about that we really just can't even cover right now.
Yeah, a lot of drama. Yeah. Okay. Who was your dead last finisher?
My dead last finisher was Sargent. I feel I should get.
You weren't far off, actually.
He had I was not far off. He had an overtake there of Joe at the end.
Yes, he did.
Because he was dead last.
Overtake,
and then he kind of snuck in behind. The leaders were lapped. This is the second time they lapped him. he was like Lando went past because there's blue. Lando goes past, and Sargent's like, "You left the door open a crack. I'm just going to sneak in behind him." And he definitely celebrated that. But I mean, he got an overtake in Monaco. Congratulations, buddy.
Congratulations.
You screwed up my pick.
Point in the U.S. and an overtake in Monaco. He can go out happy.
All right, so basically, I did not get dead last finisher. I was close, though.
My dead last finisher, I will say who it is, and I will issue my apology. My dead last finisher was Alexander Albon. I would like to sincerely apologize to the Williams franchise and fan base for just completely overlooking the talents of Alexander Albon.
Yeah.
I feel I am a fool, and it won't happen again.
And deep down, you know that you're actually the dead last finisher.
Well, I'll tell you what. After I read out this crazy prediction, I don't know, baby. All right, what was your crazy prediction?
Crazy prediction. I had a team out of the top 5 will be on the podium. That did not go down well. And
not even close.
I side predicted with some help Gasly. But hey,
that was actually
Gasly got in the points.
Gasly got in the points.
Nothing remotely close to my prediction, but so that's a fail on my part. Look at you.
Well,
look at you.
I am on a roll with these crazy predictions because publicly, I am 2 for 2. There is still a hidden episode that I missed the crazy prediction, but that did not happen. My crazy prediction was Max is not on the podium.
Nailed it.
Which I cannot believe that happened, but he wasn't even close.
I think you made that before even FP1. Right? That was
before FP1. Yeah. Yep. That was before anything. Yeah, so now the tally's tied at 2-2. Yeah. Oh no. Oh no!
It's weird.
Who did you have for pole?
Weird. Charles. Chuck Leclerc.
God. Dang it! I was so close. I was so close. I had Oscar, and he had one lap that the first half was amazing, and he had another lap that the second half was amazing.
I mean, it's pretty nuts.
Combine them.
I thought you were out of your mind, but you're close.
I am absolute
not
Formula
close,
1.
But
oh my God, both our podiums are atrocious.
I should have said in no particular order. But no.
I know.
So sorry, my predicted podium was Max, Lando, Leclerc. That's an offer.
That's an offer. I got a worse offer.
What'd you get? Who'd you
pick?
I
had Oscar winning, Lando second, Leclerc, and 3 I went offer. So you're up 3-2.
Yeah.
After
Monaco. What this
proves
is that we are neither qualified nor capable of making picks for you. Like, it's just...
Listen.
These are for entertainment purposes and value only.
Strictly. If you guys are wanting to bet, don't listen to this podcast for your picks. I'll tell you that much for free. Okay.
It's only going to get worse with grades, so...
It's going to get way worse. We're going to hop into our driver ratings, and we're going to try to keep it short. We've been told we ramble, and it's because we kind of save all of our Formula One talk for the podcast, and as soon as we start talking, it's hard to keep us, stop us.
It's such a small field. Like, you're like, oh, it's only 20 drivers, but when you list out all 20 of them with the grade, it really kind of... Like, we're still going here. So I do have some hot takes.
Yeah,
but
so do I. We'll say a grade, a short word, and move.
All right, I'll let you.
Me first.
I'll let you MC.
Alexander Albon. Oh wait, sorry. Totally just ruined it.
Is this alphabetical? You know How did you choose this order? By the way,
I did it on
like,
the order that the teams were finishing at the start. So I did it in like
the next
how
one,
good
we should probably do it. Maybe do it in reverse order of finishing. All the bad grades at the beginning. But anyways, so that's fine.
Okay, so start with the Williams organization. I gave Alexander Albon an A-. I'm gonna change that to an A.
I gave it A++. 1, because I'm a homer, and 2, because I think this is phenomenal for this team. They needed this so badly.
Yep.
This is not something to. They didn't just back into this, right? Qualifying for Monaco is one of the hardest ever. I mean, just watch one of those onboards while they do one of those laps. It's absolutely insane. Like, I do not know how they're not in a wall every single time.
So, let me give a warning real quick.
Sorry, just Q3 has a spectacular race. He talked about that issues with the fronts. He did more than manage. And I actually was very entertained by all of his post-race interviews, or he just complaining about how slow they were. I believe at one point he said he could have done faster if he'd just taken his Vespa. So yeah, I just think it was just huge for Williams. This catapults them. Maybe not the right word. I mean, they were dead last on 0 points. Now they're P8 in the constructors.
I'll tell you what, guys.
Kind of on technicality, but still, I think that's huge.
Warning for all of our listeners. This man, if you get him talking about Alexander Albon by the end of the conversation, he will convince you that he's better than Michael Schumacher.
I'm telling you, the guy's amazing.
Logan Sargent, I gave him a C. He kind of just did what I expected Williams to do.
I gave him a C as well. You know what? At one point, he tapped the wall. He was neither completely the slowest, and maybe because the whole field was going slow, it kind of hit his pace. Maybe
he was going full speed. Yeah. Everyone else was 4 seconds. Yeah.
So look, he didn't cause a bunch of accident damage, and what are you gonna do?
Yep. Kick Sauber Steak F1 Sauber team.
I gave them both Joe and Bottas C's. It sucks.
Yeah.
I think they're just driving a really slow car, which is saying a lot because of the slow speed of this course or track.
They were so far behind the pace in qualifying. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That car absolutely.
That's not drivers. That's not drivers. That's a car.
No, absolutely not. All right. The team that seems to be self-imploding right now from France. The Alpines.
Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon. I gave Gasly an A. This is a big weekend for him.
Huge weekend.
Ocon gets an F minus.
Yep.
For being a superhero douche. And an awful teammate. And I think what this has actually probably done is I think Gasly will be on this team going forward, and I think Ocon's out.
I agree.
I think they're going to build, at least for the next 2 years, it's going to be built around Gasly. And Ocon
and he's the more marketable driver.
Yeah.
He's much more marketable. Everyone loves Gasly. Yeah. No one ever really has problems with him. I did the same exact thing. I gave Gasly an A, Ocon an F flipping minus. Yeah. That brother stank.
If there was a lower grade, I would give it to him.
So would I. And that might have some slight bias from both of us, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Haas, what'd you give the gentleman?
So, we got Hulkenberg and K-Mag. I gave Hulkenberg a B. He got a raw deal at the end there in lap 1. He had a decent qualifying. Both Haas's, we actually never really covered it. I gave K-Mag a D for trying to send it on that lap 1 incident. I think he's feeling pressure. I am shocked. I am absolutely shocked. We didn't cover this. Shocked that wasn't investigated and there was no adjudication of penalties or anything. Don't get me
started.
Like they didn't even send it to the stewards. They just said no investigation needed. Let's move on with our lives. But anyways, I gave him a D, right? Yeah, I gave him a D.
I gave Hulkenberg a C I don't think he had a B. I thought his qualifying, he was hardly above Magnussen. Gave him a C. And then I gave K-Mag an F minus. I just thought with that many penalty points on your license, you cannot be sticking it up there. I don't care if Checo saw you or not. You are also a Formula One driver and should know that.
I think you would 100% should be penalized and benched.
For the next race.
I think it should be benched.
Well, let's move on to the fifth fastest team on the grid now, apparently. VCarb. What did you give the gentleman?
I think Yuki Tsunoda had a spectacular race, a spectacular weekend.
Spectacular.
And he's been stringing them together. The dude is consistent. He gets an A for me. Consistent.
Yeah.
And I wish somebody would explain to me why. So everybody says he's not an option for the Red Bull seat, the Perez seat. But no one says why he's not that option. I wish someone could tell me why. Why doesn't Horner consider him for that? It doesn't make sense to me. His buddy Ricardo, he got a D. Maybe could have been a C. He anonymous the whole weekend, swimming around near the back. Like he did not have a good qualifying. He did not have a good race, and really the performance of his teammate is not helping him out. He's starting to look slower. So.
Right. I gave Yuki Tsunoda an A, and I'll tell you what was very interesting about this whole weekend. Real quick, I don't want to talk too much, but Yuki Tsunoda in a V-Carb qualifies P8. Sergio Perez in a Red Bull qualifies P18. I mean, and he's, like you said, he has strung together. I mean, maybe has missed the points one race? I mean, even sprint races. And Ricardo has, I think that fourth place in the sprint.
He had a good sprint, but that's not gonna cover it, buddy. All right.
Yuki Tsunoda justice, and then I gave Danny Rick a C. He came in 12th, so it wasn't that bad for me. No. But when Yuki's in P8, and I mean, I know Fernando was backing him up, but he was pretty far ahead of Mr. Ricardo. Okay. I cannot believe your grades for this one. Aston Martin. I mean, I could understand. I'll let you elaborate.
The Aston Martins, both Stroll and Alonso, both get C's. I think I'm shocked. I'm surprised at how Alonso's weekend went. Stroll, whatever, he put it in the wall at one point. He at least made it kind of exciting with the pit stop. And towards the end there, it's like something actually happened. They both had sort of an anonymous race. I think Aston Martin's got a problem because they're bringing parts to this car and upgrades that are not upgrading the car.
Yeah.
So they've got a correlation issue, or they got something going on there where they're investing time and money to make a car faster and it's making it slower.
Yeah. I actually have a quick hot take too on this. My grades were D- for Stroll and B for Alonso. Alonso was literally backing up places 11 through 16 just so Stroll could get a free pit stop. And you know what he does with that little free pit stop? He shoots it into the wall and punctures his tire. And somehow Alonso finishes ahead of him after giving him a free pit stop. Oh.
Did you see how apparently Alonso someone must have told him towards the end there, but he thought Stroll was in P10. So he thought he was helping Stroll out for a point. He didn't realize that Stroll was in 11. And then when Stroll goes down, he thinks he's good. Like 50-something laps or something like that. He was saying that he thought he was helping the team out over P10 and a point and nothing.
Aston Martin needs to figure it out. All right. The team that was actually a little surprising this weekend, Mercedes.
I gave both drivers Hamilton and Russell B's. That's
fair.
They've certainly improved. I think this is an improvement. I don't know if this is an anomaly because it's a weird track. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, given the tools they had, I think they did well. I was surprised that I don't know if you saw this comment about Hamilton saying he doesn't expect to outperform Russell for the rest of the year. I don't know if that's him just kind of being a petulant child or.
It's because they're phasing him out of stuff now, right? Because he's switching teams and there's no garden leave for the driver. So they're just phasing him out and not giving him priority anymore. But it was a little petty. I agree. I gave Lewis a C+. I'm going to change that to a B-. And I gave George a B. The Mercedes car, I feel like has separated from that Aston Martin V-carb conversation. They're in the top 4.
Not by a lot, but I agree.
Yeah, but they're miles behind.
I could see Canada where they're fighting around with the V-carb.
Oh, Yuki.
I'm sorry, you're absolutely right. Yeah. box to undercut Sonoda. That's what's going to happen. Write that down.
All right. The best team in the nation, McLaren.
So I think McLaren had a really good weekend. I gave Norris a B+ to annoy you, and I gave Piastri an A, a solid A. I think looking back on it, Norris might wish. I think he himself, I bet, would tell you that he could do better. I think his P4 is a result of qualifying. So obviously a great result, but I think that they all probably agree that it could have been better. So I gave him a B+.
Yeah. I gave Norris an A- and Piastri an A+. Norris definitely should have put qualifying together. It seemed like he was struggling even since Q1. But he had the pace to win that race, to qualify on pole. And then Oscar, I don't think he could have drove any better. No. He really had a significant or amazing qualifying, and then he kept P2 with pretty significant damage to the floor and to the side pod with Carlos scraping him, which I thought was pretty impressive.
It also kind of shows you how track position at this place is key. You can run around with some damage and you'll be all right.
Yeah, be fine. The heroes of the weekend, Ferrari.
Leclerc gets an A+ for sure. That's just an amazing performance. That's awesome. I gave Sainz a B. That could be an A-. I think I gave him the B. I am still angry about how many chances he got. So, I mean, at least he took the chances and didn't screw it up. But I don't think... I think he could probably tell you he could do better. But I don't know. Same with Hamilton, like we were just talking about. I wonder at what point Sainz starts getting phased out. It was okay. It was okay.
Yeah. I gave Charles an A++. Amazing qualifying and, of course, amazing race. He managed the pace beautifully. I gave Sainz a B and then knocked it down to a B- because he pissed me off this weekend. Mm-hmm. And for reasons we already covered. Last but least, actually, Red Bull.
So I gave here, Verstappen gets a B. I mean, he was working with what he had. It is bizarre to see him fighting around P6 and having a poor showing in qualifying. It's clearly something's weird with that car on that kind of circuit. We're going to watch him run off three wins in a row here. I wouldn't be surprised to see him up, at the front here in Canada. Now, Perez, I gave a D. Could have been worse. That's sort of a pity. I think he's feeling the pressure. That kind of contradicts what I said about possibly having contract in the bag already, but I don't know. I think it was, the accident really sucks. I don't think it's his fault. The fact that he's fighting at the back, I think, is his fault. So, it just kind of shows you, like, if Verstappen was struggling with that car, then Perez is just not going to do
course.
Well. Yeah.
You actually kind of swayed me into giving Perez a better grade. I gave Perez an F because he qualified P18, which in a Red Bull is not acceptable, and that's pretty much all we have to judge of his weekend. Yeah, really. So I gave an F, and then Verstappen I also gave a B. I had him at a B+ A- because he pretty much drove to the best of his capability in that Red Bull, which looked pretty bad this weekend. But I remembered his mistake in qualifying, so I knocked it down to a B.
That's fair.
I feel like we did better there. We
Yeah,
got
we did
through our
better.
picks a little quicker. I feel like we'll get quicker each
Nailed
week.
it.
Nailed it. Well, do you have any final thoughts on this race moving forward? I'm very excited for our next episode because I feel like there's gonna be a lot of drama
I
to
am.
cover.
I am. I think we need to have, because we have 2 weeks, right? I think we need to have something here.
Yeah.
I think things might kick off here. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some driver market changes. Someone could sign,
agree.
and I think really, I know we had Albon the other day, but he's re-signing. But once one of these guys signs
Right.
for a different team, I think that it's the dominoes will fall, and I think it's gonna get wild. And I'm excited for something
Agree.
crazy to happen.
Me too.
And then Canada
too.
is what I think either first my favorite or at least second favorite. I love that track. I think it's
Really?
I think it's a cool race. Yeah, it's got a little bit of everything.
I really like driving it in the game. I like driving it. Yeah, well, we'll see. I'm sure the next time we talk to you guys, things are going to be spicy, but
Yeah.
congratulations, Charles. The GP itself was kind of shitey,
Yeah.
but we got some good
That's
drama
crazy.
out of it.
I got to be honest. I feel like we could talk for another hour about it. So either we say too much or maybe there was stuff. Like, no, it was good. It was good. The rewatch was a little hard. I got to be honest. I did a lot of skipping.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Well, ladies and gents,
Should people check stuff
we
out?
will yes, the video is back, everyone. The video is back, and clips are finally coming out. I know I said that like 2 weeks ago, but it's happening now. It's for real now. This thing is happening. We're doing it, and we're having fun. And we will see all. Oh wait. Yeah, that's it. We'll see all
Like
of you
this.
guys.
Chiz.
Like it so much. Hit the like button so hard. Just smash it harder than K-Mag hit Perez. All right. We'll see you guys in a few days. I think maybe
That sounds good.
in a week. We'll see. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Later.